evening and welcome to the FE Bar. I'm your host, Jack Jordan Maynard, and joining me today is the lovely Aisha Dule. We have lots to talk about tonight as the attack charge race seemed to be a huge success in the mock race today. Porsche are looking super strong, and so do Cairo Race, as David Beckman has set the fastest lap time of the week so far. We have interviews with Zane Maloney, who had quite a difficult day today, as well as Oliver Rowland and Nick DeFries. Remember to join the Discord to have your say. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button as well if you're new around here, because obviously all of that massively helps us in our race to get to 1,000. We've gained a couple of subscribers actually, Aisha. But yeah, ! Discord if you can in the chat, and it should give you a Discord link if you are new. Lots and lots to talk about tonight, and we really want to have your say over the next hour or so. Aisha, how are you firstly?
Good. Honestly, like the last time I joined the FE Bar show, it was roughly about 4 months ago, so it's definitely so good to be back.
Time is going fast, isn't it? Time is going. When you say it like that, time is going super fast.
Crazy. And it's so nice to be joining you again on probably one of the busiest weekends of Formula E, and it's nice, really.
Yeah.
How's everyone been doing? I still got the friendship bracelet from Sal, if anything.
Yep. I think Saz is in the waiting room. I've still got mine. It's in the drawer now, actually. I need to put it back on, actually, as Formula E is back. And obviously, in solidarity for Saz, who's obviously in Valencia right now, and we're wishing that she's well there. So we'll talk to Saz in a little bit later. Oh, it's my fault. It's my fault. The reason why Aisha's quiet is because I forgot to turn her up. That's my fault. I quieted you down. Oh, terrible from me. Terrible from me. Terrible from me.
Right.
Terrible.
Well, I was saying
I turned it down so the music's a little bit of a lower, but it works off the same channel basically, which is a bit of annoyance, and I've forgotten to. I always remember as soon as I finish my intro, but I didn't today. And you think I've been doing this 2 days in a row, in a third day? You think I'd be natural? You think I'd be natural at these types of things? But I slipped up there. Sorry, Aisha. You say that bit again.
Yeah, I just saying the last time I joined the FE Bar show was 4 or 5 months ago. It was when I was about to move out of my house, and now I moved in, so that's why Jack was like, "Oh, your lighting is so much better by a mile." And yeah, welcome to my new house, just my living room. And about Valencia, obviously, it was a shame, honestly, because I got everything booked. So I got my flights. Well, I'm so glad that I've not booked my accommodation, or else it would be so bad, because I know that Pico is not getting a full refund of everything, but I think it's a very logical decision to not have the pre-season testing in Valencia. It was just devastating to see all the victims, and yeah, honestly, I wish nothing but the best to them, because it must be hard, you know. And so, are we gonna talk about how Formula E promises to make? Is it 20 grand, or is that 50?
I thought it was 50, but you said 20, and now I'm doubting myself because I haven't actually looked into it, and you said it like 2 minutes before we went on air. So I'll go with you. But either way, Formula E pledging money to help support Valencia, either way as a donation, is pretty amazing.
Right, and either if it's like 50 grand or 20 grand, which I'm not really sure, I'll have to look at that. That must be really nice, and I hope it really helps the local and the people around the circuit. Like, genuinely, it's just a shame.
Yeah, 100%. And you were nearly there as well. You were nearly there. You would have been in testing, but one thing and another thing meant you couldn't be. But the lucky thing for me is, because if you were there, I'd be doing these shows all by myself all week. So the good thing is we had Jasmine yesterday. We've got you today, and we either have you or Jasmine for tomorrow. Fingers crossed, one of you. We'll be on the show, fingers crossed, to wrap off what has been an incredible week of testing in Formula E. But let's start. As I bang my head, let's start with attack charge, because obviously in the afternoon. Yeah, I thought it was 50,000. Yes, thank you, chat, for a reminder. I thought it was 50,000. I thought I read it was 50,000. Then you said 20 and scared me a little bit, and I didn't really have time to double check it before we went on air. I was like, but anyway, good that that's clarified, and it's still an amazing gesture by Formula E. But let's talk attack charge, because I think today was a very big success, huge success. Because there were no major issues around the attack charge pit stop. Everything ran smoothly. How important is that, Aisha, in terms of getting attack charge and actually hopefully seeing it this season?
I've not like looked at it that much, but I remember most of the drivers saying that it's one of the things they look forward the most. So it's nice to actually see it working well. And I'm just really excited on like how the season will play out because of it. But what are your thoughts on it? I thought you're really excited to talk about it, that you just
Yeah,
bang your
well,
head.
yeah, well, yeah. Clearly, I was excited to talk about it by banging my hand on the table. I think it was, as I said yesterday. I think it's crucial, like the fact that it's working, the fact that it's working is huge, because now hopefully, fingers crossed, we learned yesterday that we're going to be seeing them hopefully for double headers. So the Saturday may be the standard normal 45-minute, however long it takes race, but the second race could be the attack charge race. So maybe, for example, when we go to Monaco or Jeddah, for example, so Jeddah might be that first scenario where we see the double header and see attack charge in it on the Sunday race. And then, we'll finally get to have our own minds made up on how it works come the Sunday race, effectively, in Jeddah. And that will be the first time that they'll use it. That's what we're expecting, because everything went fine today, and today was the day to make sure everything went fine. It did. Therefore, I'm expecting to see it in Jeddah. So therefore, we might see it in Jeddah, obviously Monaco, and so forth, and all the double headers that we have. So in London as well, for those people who are travelling to London. But I know we got such an amazing fan base here that you'll be travelling to the likes of Berlin and so forth to see it yourselves. So
Yeah.
and Monaco. So I think it's huge, and I think it's also huge for Formula E in itself, in its road relevancy to road cars, mainly because it's been said for so long that we wanted to obviously make road cars better and make the technology better, and this is a massive step forward in taking that technology forward, because at the moment cars on the road only charge at 300 kilowatts. These Formula E cars charge at 600 kilowatts, so it's double the capacity of what everyone can do at the moment. Therefore, it's a huge step forward if we can get that to the roads as quickly as possible.
But I think what's really unique about it is like they do this every year. So like their technology just keeps on growing every single year, because remember, last year they make the car go faster, and this year, but what of the likeliness of them like attracting new fans just because like, oh, Formula E is like so advanced? And do you think like Formula One will just follow Formula E like one day?
You think Formula E will follow Formula
No,
One with the pit stops?
Formula E, yes.
It's a great question. Like, you're asking me the questions, which I love. Honestly, I don't think Formula E is following Formula One, but it's an element to the racing, and you might be 100% right, and it's a great question to throw to the fans. So, exclamation Discord if you think that this attack charge might entice people to come and watch Formula E, because it's something new. It's a bit different. It's a bit different to just a standard 45-minute race. It may bring a little bit more intrigue. So attack charge race, and if anyone wants to talk about the race itself, and I know I kept an eye on the race, and so forth. Obviously, I wasn't there, so therefore I can't tell you exactly what happened. We may have a visit from Nick Golding and Jack Smith Nick Golding from Racing News 365 and Jack Smith from Motorsport Week. However, it's unconfirmed. The poor boys are having their dinner as we speak, or are searching for their dinner as we speak. So they're going to pop into the waiting room. If they pop into the waiting room, I know we'll hear from them. If they don't pop into the waiting room, that's basically the decision that we've taken. If they can make it, they'll come on before the show ends. If not, so we might get a little bit more. But if not, then we'll just take it from what I've read and things that I've been told between now and the end of the show. So that's attack charge. And if you want to come talk about that, exclamation mark Discord and get in the chat. But also, what we got to talk about is Porsche. I think before we get to some fans, Porsche are looking super strong. And what I mean by that is, even if we look at Verline, obviously has set the second quickest time in practice, in testing, sorry. But David Beckman in the old Porsche powertrain has set the fastest time, right? So either way, that tells me Porsche looking good, because if David Beckman, and remember, I know there's another day tomorrow, but really and truly, we got 3 hours of running. So tomorrow is going to be a huge day to find out how strong Kiro are, how strong Porsche are. But if the old Porsche powertrain is still working seamlessly with the new tyres, the new bodywork upgrades. That's huge. And, we started this week thinking, oh, we don't know how Kiro are going to do. Then yesterday we thought, oh, maybe Kiro might be half good. And now we're thinking, could Kiro be up there? And that's impressive. And that's just how good Porsche look. What have your thoughts been on Porsche?
No, I think, you know what, like I mentioned it earlier and like how is it not too early to tell who's gonna be champion again? But looking at how strong Porsche is, like David Beckman again, even though he's not necessarily confirmed, even though I really want him to be confirmed because seeing him in London, he was just like, well, I can't tell you what my plans are for the season, and I'm like, not even for me, and he's like, no, and I was just like, I'm not recording, so I was basically begging him, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna tell you, and I'm just like, oh, well, okay. And then seeing him back in the preseason testing, it's really fantastic, and plus he goes the fastest, even though he has not been really showing results.
Yeah, when he was in Formula E, yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
In Jakarta, and I think that's his last outing, was it
Yeah,
not?
Jakarta, you're 100% right. Yeah, you were there. You interviewed him that day.
Yeah, I was there. I interviewed Beckman too, so it's always a thing between me and David Beckman, but he's always been like, he's really good at keeping circuits, and it's just really annoying because there's not enough talks around him. I don't think he necessarily performed, like he didn't really show any potential in Jakarta, but now it's just something to look at, So I think if Porsche wins again, I will not be surprised because in London I was so in denial. I was like, "Oh, Mitch Evans definitely gonna win it." I think I jinxed
And he could
it,
have.
and yeah,
He
they
definitely
didn't.
could have. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I think it's very exciting times. Very, very exciting times. A team that's a little bit worried, and obviously I think this makes sense, right? Is Lola, right? And we've got an interview from Zane Maloney, and we're going to hear it after this little brief chat, and then we'll get some fans in. The interesting thing here, obviously, Zane didn't do the afternoon running, right? So if you saw Zane, he didn't do any afternoon. He did do a little bit in the morning, not much to be honest. Because I think it was only about 21 laps. He's only completed, Zane Maloney, I've got it right here. I'm just looking for Lola. 110 laps. So he's done the least amount of laps by a country mile for everybody, which isn't great for a rookie. And obviously, Lola gave a little statement saying that it was an electrical fault triggered by the accident data recorder to flag a crash, which resulted in the battery switching off. So basically, the electrics thought he'd had an accident and switched the battery off. And the team are obviously working very hard to find out what has gone wrong. They're very confident both cars will run tomorrow, but they're trying to find a solution to why that crash happened. But it's a lot of laps not done from Maloney, and even though they've had Tuesday, they have now done the least amount of running. So Jaguar and Nissan have overtaken Lola. So Lola have done the least amount of running, and for a new team who need mileage and have done a lot of good mileage in those manufacturer tests, but in this weekend to try and see where they are with everybody, to do the least amount of mileage so far it's slightly worrying. Your thoughts on that? You're all good. Mike's working. Everything's good. Don't panic.
Okay, right. So what I was saying is that, do you think the preseason testing will, like, we can just see who's gonna win it, who's gonna be the best rookie and all that? Because I don't think it's fair. So Nico Muller, for example, he was fast. He was fastest in preseason testing in Valencia about years ago. If I'm not wrong, it was season 5 or season 6 because I just did a feature.
Or Maximilian Gunther, one of them. But Nico Muller was quick as well, yes.
Yeah, so he set up like the new record, and it didn't promise anything that he's going to do well the whole season. And looking at the FIA Formula 2 standings as well, so Zane Maloney, he was third in the standings, but I don't think it can be like a promise to anything. And Taylor Bonner technically finished last. He's 20th, but Roman Stanek, he didn't necessarily
have a great
race.
car.
Yeah, so he's technically last, but do you think it can just like predict who's going to be the best rookie, who's going to perform, who's going to be able to
I don't think
exactly.
I don't think you can at this precise moment, but it's not helpful. The fact that Maloney's had a massive, he's done the least amount of laps of anyone, isn't the best preparation for his first race in Sao Paulo.
No, and plus we've not even seen that much of like Lola running, so I don't know. It's just not his week, really.
Right. So obviously Zayn Maloney spoke earlier in the press conference, so we're going to hear from Zayn Maloney now, and he kind of talks here about why he joined Lola and what his sort of expectations are at this precise moment. So what we'll do is we will hear from Zayn Maloney now, who was speaking to John Jackson from Formula E and Talksport in the press conference earlier today.
Zayn, we'll start with you as the newcomer. You've been around the paddock for quite a while now as a test driver and a reserve driver. How do you feel now getting this full-time race seat as you embark on your first season in Formula E?
Yeah, it feels great, of course. I mean, obviously I was with Andretti last year. Not much to do on the weekends, a bit boring, but it's great to be in a full-time seat with a new team, a new manufacturer. Of course, things are going to be tough initially, but the plan is to eventually be doing very well, and looking forward to it.
When did you first learn of the interest from the Lola Yamaha Abt collaboration, and what was it that convinced you that this was the right move for you?
Everything happened quite quickly. I mean, of course, I was focused on F2, doing a good job there, and then obviously Lola, Yamaha and Abt partnered together, and I mean, the first meeting after that, it was only a few weeks before everything was finished, so I think all of our goals were aligned, and I mean, it was a great opportunity straight away there's not many seats available in the world, so to get a great seat in Formula E is a great opportunity, and looking forward to making the most of it.
And what are your first impressions of the new Gen 3 Evo car? Because there's some pretty big developments there, with all-wheel drive being the main thing to get used to, I imagine.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's something big for the teams to learn. Of course, it's a lot quicker with the four-wheel drive. As a driver, you always like to go quicker, so it's very nice. I mean, from our side, it's also good to have something new for everyone, and it's not just us learning it as a team. Obviously, the tires are different as well, so that's a big thing coming into next year, that all the teams are going to be learning and struggling to learn at this moment. But yeah, it's a lot to learn for everyone, and looking forward to the races and how it changes with 350.
In terms of a teammate with experience, you can't really get much more experience in Formula E than Lucas Di Grassi. What kind of impact has he had on you so far in the short time you've worked together?
I mean, he's very experienced. He's the most experienced on the grid. Of course, coming up the ranks in F3, F2, you're usually with someone your age and with your experience. So to have Lucas in the team is great. Of course, I'm coming with my experience from different categories as well, and everything's new. So the more that he knows, the more he can give to the team and myself as well. In terms of pure performance, obviously I'm confident as a driver what pace I have, but in every other aspect, I'll be learning from him a lot. Race scenarios, quality scenarios, what to do in different situations, and the more experience, the better in that sense. So looking forward to taking as much information from him.
And we're looking forward to seeing how that partnership develops. Zayn, we'll start with you.
And we are back from Zayn Maloney. Very interesting there. Obviously, like, he's very much obviously looking forward to the season. It's just obviously, I think today, and obviously that was before his setback, so he spoke there before his setback, so obviously we couldn't ask about the setback in the press. That was during the lunch break between the two sessions, and he'd only done about, I think, 21 laps in the morning session, so he didn't get many. He was probably hoping to do the 24 lap race and then do a couple more laps in the afternoon, and obviously that electrical fault didn't allow that to happen. So not the greatest start for Zayn, but let's get some fans in. Let's get some of you guys in. Exclamation mark Discord. If you want to come and speak about testing, lots of things to talk about. Nikki, I see in chat there, and I love that you're talking also, chat, about how tall Zayn Maloney is, because he's like, and also, which is great, because I'm like, he's about the same as my height, so it might be another small person that I can happily talk to in the paddock, rather than these 6'4" than some of last year's. Well, the mics are quite good, but also, yeah, we picked it up from our mics as well, so it's like good that our mics are quite good as well. So that's all happy. But we're going to speak to Blake. We're going to speak to Blake first. Blake. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Well, yeah, we come to you first. I saw you in the waiting room an hour ago.
Yeah.
With some new person. I don't know if that was part of your...
Yeah, man, it was Tino. He's been a lifelong friend of mine.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to say, I don't know if you're bringing more and more people. Your scouting network.
Yeah.
Into the Discord. So I was like, thank you.
I'm happy to bring in new people to the bloody series. So
Excellent. So I'm glad he's here. Hopefully he can one day become part of the FE bar. But obviously you're in the waiting room. What would you like to talk about from today's action?
I want to talk about David Beckman.
Yep.
Christ, holy Tyson. Oh my goodness me! I wasn't expecting him at the top of the time charts yet. You
Yep.
can say it's only testing, but it kind of gives me one question, a burning question.
Go on.
Is David Beckman actually could be one to look out for next season? I mean, he's been under the radar since the first 2 days of testing, and then on the third day, out of nowhere, he's on top of the charts. I mean, the advantage is that the Kiro is running an old Porsche powertrain. Was it from
last
season 9?
Well, yes,
Last
effectively.
season.
But it would have everything up to season 10. So effectively, all the progress that Porsche powertrain has made since season 9 to London season 10. That's basically what they use. So basically, what Pascal Wehrlein won the championship in is what Kiro are using. Yeah.
And it gets me thinking how good are they going to be on qualifying pace? Because I saw the lap times and I'm thinking, Kira's looking good on qualifying pace. I mean, I don't know about you, but Kira looks to be competitive so far on qualifying pace. But I mean, I could be wrong. When we get to Brazil.
But at the moment, I think if Porsche strong, right, and this is why we thought Porsche strong, if this car has adapted, right, so if the Kiro car with the old powertrain has adapted to the new bodywork, to the new tyres, seamlessly, it looks like at the moment, right, because, okay, to do the fastest lap time so far of the whole week says something. These drivers have only got 3 hours of running left, right, tomorrow morning. By 12 o'clock our time, they're done. Right? That's it. You hand over to the female. So they've got 3 more hours to find out. And maybe David Beckman's time is beaten, but he might end up the 4th, the 5th quickest time, for example, overall. And if you're the 4th or 5th quickest time, then yeah, we are going to expect Kiro to potentially be strong. But for David, going back to David Beckman, do we think, right, has this raised the expectation levels of you of him this test session, or is he still allowed to fly under the radar a little bit and there's a little bit less pressure on him?
It really depends though. It really depends on what he does, especially when it comes to the first race. I think I'll make proper judgment in the next 4 rounds to see where he is. I won't go flying into conclusions. I remember there was a championship once. So many people said he's going to do well, and then by round 6 he flopped. So,
yep.
Yeah, I'm just going to I'm just going to see my judgment.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because obviously teams also develop. Like teams will develop, right? Whereas this was what Pico was saying at the beginning of the season. He expected Kiro to be strong, right? That was his prediction, right? Because everyone's still getting to grips with their new powertrain. But as everyone's software develops and people take, put a foot on their gas, basically, then Kiro will start to dip down because how far can they take? They can't take it any further apart from software. Everyone you'd expect would have better hardware than what they had last season. So therefore, once they get onto the top of the software stuff and improving it and making it more efficient in areas, then you'd expect Kiro to fall down. So it's about making hay, I think, while the sun shines for Kiro.
Yeah, so, and I think that I think early in the season maybe we're going to be the real underdogs of the sport in the early rounds. I would say.
Yeah.
It's a bold prediction, but I'm gonna take it close to my heart.
No, yeah, 100%. No, I agree. And tomorrow will be a great show, right? Because tomorrow, normally, what we do on FEZ, right, is obviously we've done this many years, and me, Ed, and Pico would have seen pre-season testing, we would have done an FEZ show on pre-season testing, and then we would say who we think our champion is. And that's what we're going to do tomorrow with you guys, right? Finding out who you think your champion is. So you've got another 3 hours to work out who you think might do it, and 3 hours of running. But it'll be good fun, and I'm not saying that David Beckman's going to be the champion, but if Porsche continued as strong and this strong push in the last 3 hours tomorrow, then you'll be looking at the Andretti's and Porsche, I think, to be your champion again. It could be a fight between Pascal Wehrlein, Da Costa, Dennis, and Muller. Which would be really interesting. Aisha, anything to add?
Yeah, I think because that burning question of like, oh, is David Beckman gonna be the one to look for? I think so, because it's been such few unfortunate years for him, because when he was in F2, he was taking over JQ's seat, and JQ was not in his best car as well. And then with Kira performing this well, so I think he's ready to show the real deal. Just this season, it might be his year, and you'll never know, because Formula E is so unpredictable. That's why we love it. And I think David Beckman should be able to show what he got this whole time. And I love supporting the underdogs, if anything.
Yeah, I think we all do love supporting the underdogs. Blake, anything to add? If not, thank you so much for coming on.
No, nothing else to add. I'm free to go.
Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, I was glad to get you first on. And thank you very much for adding to our wonderful community.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.
There he goes. Lovely Discord. We'll bring one more in, and then we'll talk about Roland. We'll bring Nikki in. Nikki, welcome to Discord. To the Discord.
Hello,
Welcome to the
how are you?
How are you? Very well. Good to have you back on.
All right, thank you.
What would you like to talk about today?
Basically, I would like to talk about attack charge.
Yep.
I'm still not convinced how it's going to work, whether it is going to work, how it went in testing. I'm still a little bit confused about how it will work.
So,
Will it be like a pit stop in Formula One, or?
Well, it won't be like a pit stop in Formula 1 because it won't happen in 3 seconds and there won't be 22 people around the car.
No, but you know what I mean. That sort of, you know what I mean. Will it be
yes,
like a pit stop?
Yes, they will
thing?
come into the garage. They have to come into the garage. So they came into the garage today, and they, I think there was like three people, maybe even one person who just put and maybe 2 people there just double checking everything's okay. They literally go to the back of the car with the lead. They plug the car in and bash, and they wait. The car flashes, and then at some point it doesn't flash, and basically that's when it means pull it out. It's charged to the max that it can charge it to in that 30-second period, and the car goes. Now, for me, I felt it worked well today. Like, they were talking about the smaller tracks, and this is what they were worried about, people going a lap down. And I think that will happen. People, but it won't take long. Within 3 or 4 laps, everything had sort of sorted itself out. And
Especially if we're going to have, I think also because Formula E now has the Peloton style of racing, I personally believe that it would be beneficial. But for me to actually have an honest opinion about it, I may have to see it in action, if that makes sense, before I can make proper judgment of it.
Oh, of course, we're all going to have to see it for ourselves. And I think what worked really well today is that the Jahama track is very big, right? It's so they didn't go a lap down, but they did do the majority of the lap. So, for example, if you pitted on the first lap, then you fell about 2 sectors behind. But then, so I do think on the smaller tracks, such as maybe Tokyo, London, and so forth, London will be close as well. I do think if you are further down the order, say you're 15, 10, 20 seconds off the pace, there is a potential of being pretty much a lap down. Yeah. But you might be able to stay on the lead lap, especially at tracks like Shanghai and so forth, and some of the longer tracks in Formula E. I do think people won't go a lap down, but they will just be a long way back, and so forth. But it was nice to see from looking at the driver tracker, like Robin Freins, I think went the longest, and Robin Freins in number 33. So I think 33 is Dan Ticknam, but I may be wrong on that.
Yeah, Dan Ticknam. Yeah.
So they went the longest by about 2 or 3 extra laps compared to everybody else. So it was nice to have that little bit of variety in strategy. Some people going longer, some people going shorter. Which ways that will pan out? Pretty much everybody ended up where they did, bar Maximilian Gunther. I'm not quite sure what happened to Maximilian Gunther.
Yeah, and it sort of confused me.
He was at the top and then he was at the bottom, so I don't know what happened to Max. That's something that if we
software could be anything.
But if we're lucky enough to get either Jack Smith from Motorsport Week or Nick Golding from Racing News 365, they may be able to shed a little bit more light on. And if not, then maybe tomorrow we pick up that conversation if they are free. So
I also want to ask as well, and obviously I asked Jack if this was what happens in testing is why teams like Nissan and McLaren were like stopped after like 20 laps.
Yeah, so
and things like that.
I just think they just see no purpose in running anymore. They just think, okay, we've learned what we need to learn. I think it's just that.
Oh,
right. We've learned what we need to learn. We don't need to risk the car. Because there was an incident today, and I'd like to find out a little bit more about this. There was an incident.
Yeah, so would I.
Nico Muller and Taylor Barnard got caught up in the last chicane on the about the fourth lap of the race. Don't know if Nico Muller spun and Taylor Barnard was caught, but those two fell to the back and were quite a long way off, and they kept going round, and I was expecting them to do their attack charge pit stop and then retire effectively, but they didn't. They did bring out the safety car.
I can understand Taylor because Taylor's a rookie.
Yep.
But Nico, he's sort of been in it like, is it 4 or 5 seasons now?
Yep.
I think it's 4 seasons now. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can understand mistakes being made by a rookie, obviously, because he's not used to the car, blah blah blah. Nico making a mistake, that's unusual.
Yeah, well, to be fair though, they are all bunched up going into a chicane, easily to lock a wheel and so forth and something.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't know the exact incident. I don't know, maybe Nico Muller, something happened in front of him, he had to stop. I'm only saying what I saw on the driver tracker. As I said, if we were lucky enough,
that's fine. I know you can only say what you see.
It was only if we're lucky enough to be joined by Jack Smith and Nick Golding a little bit later or tomorrow, then maybe we might get a few more answers to exactly what's happened during that race. But as I said, incidents can happen, and you don't want to be caught up in an incident. And all the teams were, and all the drivers were pretty much,
especially not like 32 days before the racing season starts.
Exactly.
Because then you have to start building engines and
that's
putting whatever.
That's what Sebastian Buemi said in his interview with us. We don't want to break anything, so it's better
exactly.
Not to. So I think that is a good part of the reason to why it didn't go the way it was expected. So
right.
And they weren't the only ones. I was expecting more, to be fair. I'm surprised Gunther finished the race. Don't know why he was so far back, but there was no point in him running around. So I'm surprised DS didn't call him in.
I'm actually disappointed about Jaguar as well. Maybe they've been affected because they had the less test days, but I really, really thought that they would be up at the top.
Yeah, well, Mitch Evans has done a lap time of a 1:28.1, so that's the fastest lap time that he's done so far. Nick Cassidy's did a 1:31, but this is better to look. He did a 1:29.3 in the morning, so I think he's gone faster than that, Nick Cassidy. So if I go back, Nick Cassidy's done a 1:28.6. That is his quickest lap time I have here. So 1:28.6 for Nick Cassidy. So yeah, it's interesting, but at the same time, it is only test. They could be sandbagging. We could turn up.
Exactly.
That's the only thing, right?
At the moment,
at the moment, we're expecting to leave Madrid thinking Porsche are the favourites.
Yeah, seem to be
as it stands,
100%.
right? Porsche are the favourites,
right?
But Jaguar could be sandbagging, and we get to Sao Paulo and they stick it on pole, and then everything we thought we knew. And that was the same as what we're testing at the beginning of the Gen 3 era, when Andretti thought they had an absolutely shocking test session. And
then look what Jake did. He pulled it off in the race.
Yeah, exactly.
To be the first one to win in Gen 3.
So, and if Jake was absolutely shocked. Thought terrible. Couldn't believe how bad the car performed, how everything went in Valencia, and then to rock up in Mexico.
And I think as well, that's why Jake was so frustrated this year, because of where the car was this year after his performances in the 23 season. I think that's why he was so frustrated about certain things.
No, 100%. So, as I said,
I hope he comes back. I hope Jake comes back with a more positive attitude this year. And actually, I think maybe Jake could get a second championship. That's what I'm going to say.
Could do, right? Let's wait. We'll wait for that for tomorrow. Right, that's tomorrow's show, right?
Well, you know
where we
who
name
my
our
champion.
champions.
You're
Well,
gonna
yeah, I
know
know.
my answer anyway, Jack. So
Yeah,
you know.
I know you might pick a McLaren, but like on evidence, your heart might say Sam or Taylor, but you know
No, Sam, definitely.
your head might say something else. But no, Nikki, anything else to add before we let you go?
No, not really.
Perfect.
I've said what I need to say, and I'll speak to you tomorrow, Jack.
Perfect. Speak to you tomorrow, Nikki. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye bye. Right, before we get we've got Natalie and Sam.
Honestly,
go
glad.
on.
I'm so glad that Nikki she asked the question of like the attack charge, because it's just so like you can't really tell what it is and how it's gonna look like until you see it yourself. So I'm really happy with that. And yeah, I was about to ask a question about Gunther. So honestly,
on.
what happened?
I don't know what happened. I can't answer that question. Right? I can't answer that question. He was at the front at the beginning of the race.
Yeah.
He was towards, and then it's ended up towards the back, and I don't know if it was a slow attack charge pit stop. I don't know. It was a question I had for Jack and Nick.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a question that we might just have to hold on to for tomorrow. But we'll get the information. If not, Mr. Pickering will be. He's probably sitting in an airport or on a plane at this precise moment, coming back to the UK. So if not, we'll get the information from Mr. Pico himself.
I really
tomorrow.
Need to see.
He can't even come on the show tomorrow, Pico, because the reason why he's coming back a day early. Well, because testing should have been finished by now. Today should have been the last day. Yeah. Right, today should have been the last day, so we've gone into tomorrow, and obviously he's booked. He's got his beloved Oxford United are playing Watford tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and he's got a ticket. And
he told me
it's away in Watford, so he wanted to get back for that. And when he was like, and I was like, well, you've got two options. What do you want to do? Do you want to see Oxford, or do you want to stay an extra day? And he chose Oxford. Fair play. I might have chosen Brentford, so fair play. So. If I was in that situation. So he wanted to get back to see Oxford. Fair play to him. And plus, obviously, staying an extra day is extra costs as well. So, everyone still travelled on a normal day, and everyone's staying. It is extra costs that are involved. So you've got to also weigh that in. So absolutely no issues with Pico coming home. No, he missed his flight. I'm not wrong. No, don't tell me he's missed his flight. No.
I think so. Did he miss his flight?
Jamie in chat said he's missed his flight. I haven't checked in. He's not messaged me. I haven't seen it. Oh my god, Pico's in chat. Pico.
Did he miss his flight? Pico, did you miss your flight?
Have you missed your flight?
Yes.
What happened?
How did you even manage to do that?
How has that happened?
So it took ages to upload everything. That's why I was getting proper stressed at you, and I'm sorry about that earlier, mate.
You should have left. And maybe try to do it on the airport Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I thought I'd just have enough time. But then I got to the car rental place, checked my car in.
They didn't say you needed to put more fuel in, did they?
No.
Like last
year. I then had to wait 40 minutes for the shuttle that ClickRent provide to arrive to take me to the airport. At which point I got there about 45 minutes before the flight, and there was no one there to check me in, and I couldn't check in online, so I missed the flight. I'm in a hotel not far away, but I've got a flight at 6:55 tomorrow morning, so.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Oh, Pico. But the good news is you're still seeing Oxford.
Yeah.
And they won on Tuesday.
Don't worry, that was my priority.
And they won on Tuesday. So
They did.
They did win.
Oh my god, that was tense. That was so
Pico,
tense.
as you're here, we've got questions, so you can fill us in.
Lovely.
Right,
Okay.
so because
what happened to Gunther? Genuinely, I really
want in the race because he was at the front for a bit and then he ended up at the back. Any reason for why that happened?
Wait, are we actually live?
Yeah. We pulled you in. We're live.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard about your story, mate.
Everyone heard that story of me.
Yep. It's gone out to the world, mate.
Lovely. Thanks for letting me know that we're actually live.
No.
Anyways,
how did you not realise we were live? You've joined. Boom.
I joined the waiting room on a whim. Like,
Yeah, and
I've just
it was lucky because Jamie in chat said that you'd missed your flight, and then all of a sudden I saw your name, and I thought you're
Yeah.
straight in.
yeah. I thought I'd come in and sort of drown my sorrows for a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. What was the question?
So the question is Maximilian Gumpfer. Yeah. So in the race, so we'll talk about the attack charge race now. So first question, Maximilian Gumpfer was towards the front of the field at the start, ended up right at the rear. Any issues or reasons for that you may have seen?
Not that I know of.
Not
10
that
out of 10 report.
Perfect.
Yeah, the thing is with these races, and this happens every year when they do the mock race, is that once they've done everything they need to do, they will come into the pits and retire.
Which
They
we saw
won't.
towards
They
the
won't
end.
do the checkered flag. So yeah,
So maybe
as far as
I think he still took the checkered flag, but I was just a bit surprised that he was towards the front and then ended up towards the back. But anyway, but no issues there. The safety car came out during the race. Was there any reason for the safety car coming out?
safety car practice.
Safety car practice. I was pretty 100% sure that it was a safety car practice. Because I looked at the timing sheets and there was nothing that suggested that. So my initial thoughts was safety car practice.
Yeah, you can tell that it was because they called it just before. I think it was Da Costa who's leading it at the time hit the chicane.
Okay. So practice for that. What else did we have about the race? I forgot what my questions were now. I'm so shell shocked about what
Pico missing his flight.
Pico missing his flight that I think
It's the
safety
first time
car.
I've ever done it. It's the first time I've ever done it in my 26 years on this earth. So yeah,
I'm gutted. I'm actually gutted for you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm a bit shell
honestly,
shocked.
yeah. Honestly, like you would not have wanted to be anywhere near me 2 hours ago. I was having a proper meltdown. Like it was awful.
Yeah, because I thought
yeah.
I thought if you missed I thought you would have messaged me to say, oh, I'm in a bit of a pickle, and
I'll be honest. I was on the phone to Dad for about 75 minutes, like
not
trying to sort out everything.
I'm not too. So yeah, obviously.
Honestly, it's been such a shit week for you, Pico.
Aisha!
I'm not the only one anymore.
Oh, okay.
Terrible.
No. Okay.
Yeah, no, but yes, yeah, you are completely right, Aisha. It has been a terrible week for me.
Yes, and that's why I was just highlighting it again.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
apologies.
yes.
I don't think me and I have actually spoken with each other on live on this before.
This is the first
So,
time. First time. Yeah.
Keeps on
Your
getting
line
worse.
is your line is a bit shoddy.
Yeah, I know. It's because I'm on 5G.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered with the Wi-Fi, and I can't bother to head downstairs because I'll be waking up in
4 hours probably.
7 hours.
Yeah.
Go to the airport.
I feel for you. I suppose that's the only problem with renting a car, isn't it? It's just an extra hassle. If it wasn't for the car, then
The thing is, what it was is the fact that the car rental place
Yep.
was not near the airport.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a good 10-minute drive away.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a challenge.
And hindsight's a wonderful thing. I could have ordered an Uber and
hindsight is a wonderful thing. I was just trying to think because I remember when we were in Valencia last year, we did the same, but I can't remember how we got to. Did we? I don't even know what we did. We got a taxi, didn't we?
The thing with that is that I still booked the car from the airport, but we were going to the train station because we had booked at Madrid because it was cheaper.
Okay.
So, weirdly, if my flights had switched from this year to last year, I would have had the perfect travel. I would have headed to Valencia last year and Madrid this year, which, but that didn't happen. So, and honestly, there was, we had I'm sure you covered this earlier in the week, but there was a minute silence before session 1 on Tuesday.
We did.
And if you zoom in, you can see me just on the left, standing next to Toby. Next, I think the other side of Toby, on the left, just above where the banner ends. If someone wants to zoom that in and crop it, I did already. But yeah, honestly, it's been a fun week, and it's been great to see people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
all my
yeah, it's been
all my questions about Formula E have gone out the window now for that race. I can't remember, but Attack Charge seemed to work fairly well. I take it, so we're probably expecting to see that being used probably from Jeddah.
Yes, so it will be the second race of all double headers next season is the plan if it gets the green light.
So we'll see in Monaco too and London, so that's quite
cool. Berlin will be there. But yeah, there's only 3 or 4 single headers next season. It's
so we will
be Miami.
Miss it for the first 2 races. Miss it for the first 2 races.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we will see it first in Jeddah.
What I don't know if you've got while we've got you, might as well ask these questions. Obviously, Kiro having an absolute blinder over 2 days. Is this just cementing that Porsche are looking super strong? Because if the old Porsche powertrain is performing this well with the new upgrades to like what we're talking about that in terms of the, the bodywork, the tires, and so forth, then surely the new Porsche powertrain is going to be looking just as juicy.
Yes. Well, I'm hoping that you cropped up my question from the team principal's press conference that I put to Florian Modlinger. But
that is not been shown on the show, but it has been published on the YouTube channel. So after the show, everyone can go and watch it.
Yeah. So a little behind the story of that is that I turned on the microphone and then the batteries died. So I had to get the audio, and Jack and Ed have edited it, so it actually sounds all right and looks all right. But yeah, so I did put a question to Florian, and I asked him the fact that because they've now got 6 Porsches on the grid. Mm-hmm. That even though the 2 with the old spec, the Porsche can still learn from having Kiro there and vice versa, and so Kiro will still be able to develop that powertrain, looking at the data of the new powertrain that Porsche and Andretti will have, which is very interesting for me because it means that Kiro could be there or thereabout. And I said on an FE bar a few weeks ago that they could have an amazing start to the year and then drop off completely. I still maintain that's going to happen, but the fact that Kiro looked quick is awesome. And this season just looks like it could be the most unpredictable yet. And I can't wait for it. And the fact that we've now got all these variables as well, attack mode's actually going to be worthwhile this year.
Explain why is attack mode going to be worthwhile this year?
So, when you go into attack mode, you get the 4-wheel drive, and so you can punch it out the corners. So, when we get to Sao Paulo, if someone's in attack mode, if they take attack mode at turn 2, don't be surprised if they pass 5 or 6 cars down that straight to the chicane.
Okay.
Because that's how powerful it is. It is worth, Lucas was saying, about 3 to 4 seconds a lap attack mode this season. So it's going to be huge.
So it is going to make a big difference to the races. So that's huge. That is huge.
And I will let you in on a little bit of fun that we've been having in Madrid as well. Jack Smith from Motorsport Week decided to make some bold predictions for the season.
Okay.
So what we've done is we've all put 4 bold predictions.
Maybe we can do this tomorrow. Let me write it down.
Yeah.
And we can get the fans involved in this tomorrow.
Yeah. So we've all put four bold predictions in an envelope.
Oh, in
That
an
we will-
envelope? But the fans can't do that.
No. This is the exciting thing. So me, Nick, Jack, Toby, Jonas, Katie Fairman looks interested on it as well. We're going to put 4 bold predictions into an envelope, seal it, and we're going to look at that in London at the end of the season.
That'd be
So
good.
who did you
That
put
would
in that
be-
envelope?
That'd be good content, actually. In London, we can film it.
Yeah,
That might be a
so-
nice idea.
Yeah, no. As soon as John had heard about it, he was straight in like, yeah, no, this is amazing. So
Well,
that's how
I'm thinking of mine right now.
Yeah.
Did you tell us who did you
I've
put in
already,
the
I've
envelope?
already, I've already written one down. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could tell you what I put in the envelope.
No, you
So
can't.
we
You
wanna
can't
do-
say what's in the envelope. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Oh,
You can't say what
right.
it is. You can't
So
say.
we're just going to open that in London?
Yeah, you literally
Yeah.
you put it in an
Fine.
envelope.
I'll text you
And then you
afterwards.
take,
guys,
you,
so
you
don't
take
worry.
it to London. So the fans
Okay.
can do this if they want to do this. And if you say
Yeah.
that you've done it, then obviously you can't change it. You got to be honest, right? If fans do want to do this and you are planning on attending the London E-Prix, we could do that. We could
Yeah.
film. We could try and film in the fan village your 4 predictions.
Yeah.
predictions.
I think Jonas wants to record it as well. So yeah, no, I think that could be
Yeah,
a good
so
thing. And
we
also,
could
I
definitely
got
do
to
something like that.
talk for that. So I'm doing bits here, mate.
I misheard you. What you said. What you were doing a minute ago was perfect. What you just did was terrible. So whatever you just did, don't do it again. Go back to what you were doing a second ago.
I think I just shook my head a little bit. I think that's all. But yeah, no, I said Jonas is in on it. So I'm getting TalkSport in with us, mate. So
Yep.
yeah,
I'm sure we'll be big with TalkSport.
we're going up in the world.
Going up in the world. No, awesome. Yeah, I'm down for that. I've already written one prediction down. I've got to think of some other predictions because I have 4 bold ones.
Yeah. Have you got?
We can maybe get people to make bold predictions tomorrow. Whatever
Yeah,
you
we
just
can.
did there, I didn't hear you.
No, I asked if I was hogging the line. If you wanted to speak to other people.
It's all right. We'll get people in. It's absolutely no dramas. We wanted to get to. You've answered some of our questions about what happened today in the attack charge race, and obviously we managed to find out that Zane Maloney had an electrical fault, which caused him to stop. Basically the car thought he had a crash and killed the battery. Well, not killed the battery, but literally switched the battery off. But they didn't send him out again because they didn't find a solution for it. However, they're confident that they will have a solution for tomorrow and both cars will be running.
Yeah.
No,
it was raining in civvies about 4 o'clock, so
yeah.
that shows how well it was going at that time.
So yeah. So that's that. I think that was most of the questions that we talked about. We've still got to show our interviews from Oliver Rowland and De Vries yet. So we've only showed one. I was literally going to show Rowland one, and then you've come in and absolutely not killed the show, made the show 10 times better with your absolutely amazing aeroplane story.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gutted for
I
you.
wasn't able to be here, but at least I've made some people's night, so
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. Well, right, we'll let you go and
All right.
rest because it is 10 o'clock. It is 10 o'clock in.
Yeah, it is. It's just a thing.
So we'll let you rest, and we'll me and Aisha will guide the rest of the show from here. We did have, I think we've got try and get Natalie and Saz on before the end of the night, but we're here from Oliver Rowland now. So Oliver Rowland on his thoughts ahead of the season, obviously with Nissan. So what we'll do is we will hear from Oliver Rowland.
Obviously coming off the back of a really, really strong season there, which could have been even stronger if it wasn't for a couple of things that were very much out of your control. How confident are you that you can replicate these performances going into season 11 and challenge for the title?
Yeah, I think last year was a pleasant surprise for everybody. And the performance on occasions was really, really strong. Probably better than we kind of expected at the beginning. But it's kind of easy to say you want to replicate something, but you always want to improve. I think if you try and copy something, it's not so easy to do. So I think, I have a few areas, the team have a few areas that we needed to work on over the off season. and still going into the season. So hopefully, if we can address some of these things and bring a little bit more consistency to our performance, I think we should be in with a shout, I would say. But yeah, the main thing is to just always try and improve and working on the small bits. The team have done a great job with the new package. And I think, like you were just chatting about there with the Gen 3.5 and all the different changes, going to be very interesting.
You were one of the drivers that got very quickly used to the style of racing we saw when Gen 3 started. How do you think the style of racing will change now with the Gen 3 Evo car?
Well, I think it's quite tricky to say, but I think, introducing the pit stops, the delta in pace between the attack mode last year and this year. Last year, I think it was more of a defensive strategy on most of the races. I think this year a bit more opportunistic, where you're looking to kind of go forward. So I expect that when people take it, will be a bit more spread out, more towards the end, where you don't want to be left at the front with nothing and everybody else has 8 minutes to take, because the power and the lap time difference is huge. So I think it's going to change a little bit the way the races are. I expect still in the beginning it's going to be quite similar, where people are going to want to save energy and get to a point where they feel like they can get to a certain target. But I think the race will spread out earlier, and then I think with the pit stops and all the other stuff going on, I think that the race could change quite a bit from sort of a third of the way through.
You have another new teammate this year, and it's another teammate that's done something quite similar to you, went away from Nissan and is now back in the Nissan family, in Norman Nato. What other qualities do you both share that can propel Nissan to the team's championship this year?
Well, I think now we both joined at the same time in Formula E, so I think now we probably have more experience. Obviously, Norman comes with a lot of experience from quite a lot of different teams. So I think he can kind of share that in terms of a technical background. And I think last year you saw against Jake, he did a pretty good job. Maybe he didn't quite have the same points in the end, but his pace in qualifying was every bit as good. So for sure he brings good speed, good feedback, and hopefully he can be there in the races, because quite often last year it was kind of just me against 4 Porsches and 4 Jaguars. So it was a little bit tricky on occasion, but yeah, hopefully he can get up to speed quickly and be there to kind of help at the front. It's kind of what you needed from him.
And we are back. A really interesting little line there from Roland. A little dig at Sasha Fellestraz in terms of, it was just him fighting against the Porsches, and he's hoping Norman will be there to sort of support him this season. Pico is watching, so hopefully Nikki is able to answer that question of yours about did he eat McDonald's again for the 3rd day straight. But yeah, so that was Oliver Rowland. I think Nissan, they've caught up fairly well. 313 laps they've done now. Rowland has done 156, Norman 157. So, they've done more laps than Jaguar, more laps than Lola. And then the next team, they're still miles away, really, because everybody else is 370. The next lowest is Kiro at 354. So, they've still... The penalty has hurt them in terms of the amount of laps that they've done at Nissan. But they haven't really set the world alight, nor have really McLaren haven't really set the world alight in this test. So they're probably the powertrain I haven't had a massive read on. DS have shown that they can be competitive, not consistently competitive, but showed that they can be competitive. Nissan haven't really shown much, to be honest with you, and it might be one of those that we look at come Sao Paulo to see where they are. So let's get Natalie. I know they're all talking to Pico at the moment, but I'm going to drag Natalie in. Hello, Natalie. We've dragged you in from the waiting room. I hope you are well. What would you like to talk about today?
Hello.
Hello.
Firstly, Aisha, lovely to see you again.
I know, it's really lovely to see you too. Even though I can't see you, but it's good to be kind of
Yes.
I mean,
London, so yeah.
Yeah, it's been about 3 months.
Yeah, I know, time goes quick, doesn't it?
Can I be really naughty and do a work plug quick?
Go on then. I don't even know where you work.
If you're interested in craft, the Hobby Craft Black Friday sale has just gone live. Half price off thousands of items. We ship worldwide, hobbycraft.co.uk. Please help pay my wages.
Fair enough. Please make sure Natalie doesn't is not sacked, basically.
Basically.
Please help. Please make sure she's not sacked. What would you like to talk about testing?
Another day, another missed opportunity, because obviously I work in a warehouse, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. So, basically, attack charge.
Yep.
Is it... I kind of know whether it's... I kind of know whether it's going to be a pit stop, because at the start of the
Yep,
year
yep,
I did, like...
That's my question too. It's been like
Yeah.
a lot of question like around the attack chart, so I'm probably like I still can't visualize it. I think I just
Yeah.
need to see it myself
Yeah.
and just learn about it once it went live. But yeah, how are you gonna say about that, Jack?
Me, not much. I was going to throw back to Natalie. So, what do you want to know about
Yeah,
attack
because
charge?
obviously I made a carousel for my Instagram at the start of the year,
Mhm.
basically with last season's regulations saying mandatory pit stop, blah blah blah. Has anything changed, or is it still a mandatory
Oh, it's still
pit stop
mandatory.
of 30 seconds?
Yes, correct. So it will be mandatory. It won't be, and it looks like it's going to be in the double headers race in the second race, so the Sunday race. The attack charge will take place.
Okay.
So the Saturday race will be our standard Formula E race, with a view of all of them being attack charge races for season 11.
Season 12.
12, sorry. 12, yeah, I know. Season 12. So, yes, so that's that in a sense.
Okay.
It is a pit stop. It's going to be interesting. You know, they didn't fall a lap behind. People thought they were going to fall a lap behind, but they didn't. So, but obviously Jahan a big track, and I'm trying to think about other big tracks, and so a small
Berlin,
track, sorry.
maybe,
So later
where it could be
Berlin,
beneficial.
Berlin they might fall a lap behind because that's actually quite a short track, the new layout. London they might fall a lap behind, but places that are a little bit longer, maybe like Shanghai, we might get away with it and so forth. But if they go a lap down, it's only for a couple of laps. I think everyone did their attack charge pit stops within 4 laps of each other, and I think 4 laps isn't a very long time to everything to sort itself out. So, and it was very interesting. Dan Ticktum and Robin Fines went the longest out of everybody. They were the last 2 to pit. Everybody else had pitted within 3 laps. They went an additional one. So that was interesting. So from that point of view, it's still a wait and see. So we have to wait and see till Jeddah, second race in Jeddah, to see what it's like. And we've got to roll with it, right? It might not look pretty in the first race, but once everyone gets the hang of it, then it will be okay. Once everyone gets used to it, I don't want people throwing their toys out the pram thinking, oh, what is this terrible thing that we've just witnessed? When, in 5 races time, we're all used to it, and actually we're all like, it's not that bad, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what newer fans tend to do.
Yeah.
One race and be like, oh, blah, 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 Formula E's rubbish, blah, 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 it's worse than other series I'm not going to mention.
Yep.
But we all know what I'm referencing.
No, indeed.
So...
Perfect. Well, Natalie, we'll let you go. Unless there's anything else you wanted to add.
Hobbycraft.co.uk, please.
Hobbycraft.co.uk. If not, we'll see you tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll try and get who you think might be world champion out of you.
If I do like that idea for London, by the way,
Yeah,
I'm going to
if
be
you feel
there.
free.
I'm going to try again.
4
I'm going to
bold
try again.
predictions.
Yeah.
I've
I'm
written
going to
one
try
down.
again.
Don't know what my next 3 would be.
Yeah. I'm going to try again for media this year as well. I've made my season 11 accreditation account, and I'm just waiting for that to be approved by the FIA.
Fair enough. Good luck with that.
I'm excited for you, honestly.
Good luck with that. Perfect. Natalie, thank you so much for talking, and we will speak to you soon.
See you later.
Right, let's get Saz in to end the show.
Right. Hi, Saz.
Saz is currently deafened, but I think she's realised that she's here. And here she has realised. Saz, we've got a surprise for you. The problem is he's going to take 20 seconds for you to see it. But we've got our bracelets on.
So
I don't know how I'm doing. There we go. That's better.
It's honestly my favorite in the world. Like, I got it. It's amazing. I just worked.
Like it's gotten bigger. Like, I don't know how to make it tighter.
Pico's got his.
And it was Pico's got his. I think you saw Pico. Pico had it on. He said he got it through.
Yeah, Pico just came on video in the waiting room to show me his bracelet. So I'm so happy you're wearing them.
Yeah, we got them on. I was worried I wouldn't find mine. I knew where I'd put it, and I was like, when you put it in a drawer, and then you like now you got to scour through this drawer. Thankfully, it was still at the top, and I was like, thank God. I was like, thank God. So yeah, I might wear it to work tomorrow, but I don't know if the 3-year-olds that I work with will, they might try and break it. So I've got to try and protect it with my life. Maybe
They think it's pretty, and they're trying to steal it.
yeah, that too. I've
worked with children before.
But yeah, very thank you for them again. But what do you want to talk about today?
I want to about attack mode.
Yep, go on.
Yeah, I'm thinking now that we know, okay, it was one test, but fingers crossed and touched word that it's all working well.
Yep.
How about making the Sunday races longer, like an hour
attack
instead?
charge, you mean?
Yeah, attack charge. Sorry, pit stop or whatever they're calling it now.
There's
charges.
So this is something. So what Alberto Longo said, and I can't remember if it was to your question or not. I think it was about the replacement, but he did say about, and it wasn't your question, it was Will's question, about longer races. He said if that's something the fans want, then they'll think about it. So if it's something that the fans keep saying, okay, we want some longer races in Formula E, then maybe they'll think about it. But I don't know because and how long these. I think what we got to do is wait and see how long these attack charge races are, because what frustrated me a little bit is that apparently in this 30-second window that they do the charge for only puts about 4 or 5% of battery recharge into the car, right? So it only charges about 4 or 5%. So that gets it to basically do an extra 2 to 3 laps potentially, depending on the track layout. So it's not the biggest like refuel. I was hoping if we got 10% out of it, or maybe 15% out of it, then maybe we can increase these races to maybe about an hour, and maybe the technology will be there to do that. But that might be a Gen 4 thing that we see, I think, for attack charge, and see how the technology develops. I think at this precise moment, we're just happy that the technology is there. But at the same time, for the FIA, they're the ones that are going to have to do this calculation. Because what we don't want, because what will happen, is if we do this attack charge pit stop, but we don't change the way how many laps are for it to account for this 4% increase, is that we'll just see flat out racing. And do we just want to see flat out racing for that final section? I'm not sure. So I think that's the big question is one, okay, it's implemented, we've trialed it, it works. What's the next step? Give it that 1 or 2 first races, see how it goes, and think, actually, we need to do this. We need to do this. And maybe making it slightly longer might become just something that naturally happens.
I think like making it longer, whether that comes naturally or not, it's sort of a win, just win for everyone, because you can have cars that might lose a lead lap in their pit stop. They've got more time to catch up. Longer for the longer races, more TV coverage for the sponsors, better for the fans, because it's not like football where people have stadiums close by. A lot of people have to travel really far to get to races, so more racing we better.
The more racing, as long as they don't put the prices up, that's the most important thing. Because that could also be one of the things that they could do. But yeah, I do 100% agree. For a fan experience, I do think Formula E, for me personally, right, I've been a fan of Formula E, but I've never paid for a ticket, right? I've been in that fortunate situation. I've never ever paid for a Formula E ticket, and I've seen the prices of the London Formula E ticket, and it doesn't fill me with joy to think I'm going to pay £100 for a ticket. You think, £100 is for a day out watching some racing. Is it worth it? Yes, probably. But in terms of the race length, if I paid £100 to go to Misano, let's say I live in Italy and so forth, to see a 34-minute race where people weren't even fighting for the lead, I don't know if I would have been too happy about. But that's a question for another day in terms of, is Formula E worth the money that they are advertising for the tickets? And a lot of people may agree. And it is considerably cheaper than Formula 1, but there is considerably less track time than Formula 1. So you've got to weigh that up as well. So it's an interesting question. And it's definitely a debate that I think I'd definitely like to get in on another day. But yeah, I get the point. I do think I've always campaigned for an hour and 15 minutes would be perfect for Formula E. Always have. with the attack charge, and if it worked perfectly, I thought an hour and 15-minute race is about right.
Yeah, I'd agree about an hour 15 minutes. Yeah, hour 20. Yeah, somewhere around that level.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect. I don't know what you think on that, Aisha.
No, I think I agree because like paying £100, maybe Formula E might be worth it because of like all of the concerts. For example, I don't know who Craig David is until Jackson.
That's because you're young. That's because you're young. That's why you don't know. Because when you're about 3 or 4, that's when Craig David was big, and no wonder why you don't know who Craig David is. But I don't really know who. But then they had like Ella Ware, whatever that is. I can't remember what her name is. That was there last year, and I didn't know who she was. But I knew one of her songs, but I didn't know who she was. But anyway.
I was just saying what's a Craig David is, and then Jack was just like...
What's a Craig David? That was the best thing I'd heard in the media said. What's a Craig David?
That's like going on your next friendship bracelet. What's Craig David?
What's a Craig David?
I quickly get the friendship bracelet, but not Craig David. And then I was just like, oh, what song is that? So like, I don't know if you're a Craig Davis fan or Ella Anderson, then
that's the one.
£100 ticket is still like a bit reaching for me because all of the transport and just £100 to see a race, that's not even like long enough. It's not like it's Formula One again, because Formula One is actually like a 2-hour race and it's just really long, really. And I don't think it's worth it. Even though in Jakarta, I know the prices are like the cheapest, I think, is about £15, but it also grant you an access to a theme park, a beach, probably like hundreds and hundreds of concerts. There's like about 5 big artists performing, so I think that's worth it. But £100, I don't know.
Yeah, I look, it's a debate. I think it's a debate for another day. But
yeah,
I do think you're right in what you're saying, that if you have the 2 concerts there, we had Dizzy Rascal, but obviously on one day, and then Craig David that we had last year. So if you're going for and you get to see the concert, and I think that's another plus for London. Not many other races do that. Diriyah did that. Maybe Jeddah might do the same. Be interesting if we do go to Silverstone. Very interesting what Alberto Longo said, and I think some of you mentioned it in chat that they still want to stick to the DNA of street track. So if they do that, then Silverstone shouldn't be in the reckoning, but because then they are going against what they're actually saying, which, you know, I will pull them up on. You said that we'll stick to the track DNA, but we're in Silverstone, so explain that one for me. So, but that's the beauty of London, is that it's the XL where the fans are. It's in such close proximity to everyone to go and see the concert. Like everyone who was there could have gone to see the concert if they wanted to, right? It was part of your ticket. So if you're at Silverstone and you have to walk all the way to Luffield, some people might not bother walking to Luffield. So therefore, you know,
even me.
And to see what is a Craig David, you know. So some people might not do that, and that's the beauty of having it in London, is that 1, you're still in the city, and 2, you've got these options and people can take full advantage of the ticket price.
I agree, because I don't think it'll attract like the new fans who are my age as well, because like, for example, I'm not going to be paying £100 if it's not because of the race. You should see Craig Davis, and I don't even know who he is, or even Ella Anderson. It's not, I don't know. What about you? Because Craig Davis is like the singer of your era, which is just like a what?
Look, I'm not a big Craig David fan. Saz might be a bigger Craig David fan than I am.
Okay.
I'm not a big Craig David fan, but like, you know, if I'm going to a race, I'm not going for a concert. Like, if there's somebody playing I like, I'll go and see it, but it doesn't really influence my decision to buy the ticket or not.
No, 100%. Saz, before we let you go, because Jack Smith from Motorsport Week has popped into the waiting room, so we'll get a bit more of an update of what happened today from him on his side of things. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, apart from I have my own law of testing, which is if my fades are doing well, we're cooking and we are so back. And if we're doing badly, it's only testing, it doesn't matter. And I find that is getting me through this week.
Perfect. And then there's only 4 weeks to go. And then we're in Sao Paulo. But Sao Paulo, because it being one race day, will fly like that. And then it's that wait again till Mexico, and we've got to go through Christmas and so forth. Don't get me started on that.
Let's just focus on the happy 1 month till Sao Paulo.
1 month till Sao Paulo. 1 month till Sao Paulo. Saz, thank you as ever for coming on.
Okay. Nice to meet you again.
And you.
Thank you for the friendship bracelet again. Love it.
Right, let's get in Jack Smith from Motorsport Week. Hello, Mr. Jack Smith. Thank you so much. Hello.
Well, I've got an interview with Mitch at 2:45, so I'm going to try and, if he's on time, do that and then leave.
Perfect.
Get an Uber, get to the airport quickly.
Great plans. You right there, Jack? Jack? Jack's
Jack.
Bear with me. So there we go. I can hear you now.
There we go. You're right. How are you? I'm just getting your lower third up, actually. There we go. It should come up now. There we go.
I am.
Jack Smith from
tired,
Motorsport
but
Week,
I'm
thank you so much. What was dinner? Because the boys wanted to find out if you were having another McDonald's.
Yeah, we were.
You had another McDonald's. Is that the third one this week?
Were you not feeling really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
They do Milky Bar McFlurries here much better than anywhere else.
Well, we had Milky Bar McFlurries in the UK not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
Are they better?
They're way
in Spain?
nice. Way, way better.
Indeed. Right, mister, let's get a quick recap on what happened today. We did speak to Mr. Pickering. He did fill us in a little bit, but I had forgotten about the attack charge race. He missed his flight. I don't know if you know.
I know, bless him.
I know, he's missed his flight, and that was a bit of a bombshell, and all my questions I had in my head evaporated. So I kind of got some out in terms of what happened, but we may ask some of them again. I don't know if you know. Maximilian Gunther was at the front of the field at the beginning of the race. He fell towards the back. Any reason for that? Because Pico was a bit unsure. Don't know if you have any more.
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of people didn't put a lot of store by the mock race. I think it was more the actual testing, because we knew that most of the drivers were not going to push that hard. I think it was, a mock race is obviously not a real race, but they weren't giving it their all. Really, the story was the fact that Zane Maloney stalled on the grid and did not reappear for the rest of the day.
An electrical fault.
It was an electrical fault. Okay, so that's fine.
So if you don't know, it was an electrical fault triggered basically the accident data recorder to flag a crash. So basically, the electrical fault thought he had a crash and it killed the battery. Well, it didn't kill it. As in, kill it. It can't be used again. Just stopped it. And they couldn't find a solution to why that happened, so he didn't run again, but they're confident of running and finding a solution so they can run tomorrow.
Okay. Well, from what I gather from having spoken to people at Lola, this is, I would say, their probably only really big hiccup so far. And when I say so far, I mean from when they began testing, behind closed doors weeks and weeks ago. It's gone so well for them up until now. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing well quickly. I mean, they can't be any worse than Abt was last last season. So I think that they're going to have an improvement. Yamaha and Lola are taking the whole thing very, very seriously, and I think that Abt is letting them do the business. They're letting them do the work because they know that they can do it better than they can.
And they've taken over also the license of the race. So basically it is Lola now as the team, rather than it being Abt as the team. It is Lola as the team. So I think Abt is sort of just stepping aside and going, okay, look, we'll help you out, we'll get you started. And I reckon this could be the end of Abt in Formula E. Maybe after the end of this season or the end of Gen 3 Evo.
It's very strange because you've what I've observed from quite a long way back in season 10. Once the announcement about Lola had been made, Lola had in effect taken over. They'd already turned up. Most of the Lola personnel were there. The big hitting Lola personnel were at Mazzano onwards. And they were just really there to observe exactly probably just how bad it all was, because they were testing their own car in the background. I mean, they were testing Gen 3 Evo, I think, in about May onwards. So they've had comparatively not a lot of time to prepare, which is what Degrassi told me the other day, that they are quite a way behind, but he's incredibly proud of what they've managed to do in that short space of time. And I think he's got a point. They've done a heck of a lot and I think that it's not unrealistic to think that they could be scoring points, not maybe on a regular basis, but I think that they're going to be in the mix of the midfield. Degrassi thinks that all 22 cars could be 3/10 from top to bottom difference. I mean, I think that would be incredible. I think that is probably an unrealistic.
But that's Lucas Degrassi all over, and we know that.
Yeah, we know.
As
Lucas
much as we love him.
Lucas is a lovely man, but a man of many opinions.
The only thing for Lola, obviously, they're now the lowest amount of laps completed, so they've done 289.
Yeah.
So Nissan and Jaguar have overtaken them. Nissan on 313, and Jaguar on 297. So the Maloney, not because he didn't actually do many laps in the morning. I think it was 21 in the morning session. So poor Maloney, though, as we said earlier, it's not the greatest preparation for him going into the season, which we talked about earlier. So we're going to talk about something else, because thank you, Lou, in chat. I had this question earlier. There was a kerfuffle in the attack charge race between Nico Muller and lap 4-5. Nico Muller at the final chicane and Taylor Barnard, they seem to, don't know if they came together, but they seem to get stuck, and it looked like Nico Muller had to turn around. Both of them lost a lot of time. Did you see anything? Do you know what happened in that situation?
I was in the main grandstand, and from where that is situated, you can see them coming down the gradient from the last corner down towards the start-finish straight. And from where the temporary chicane is, because we saw all the cars go past, and then thought, hold on a minute, there were two missing, and then Taylor and Nico reappeared. If they got together, it must have been an incredibly light contact, because. And looking at them going past, it didn't look like they had a scrape on the cars. So,
yep. So
whatever it was pretty minor. But they got together a little bit.
They did indeed. And then Lou has got a question here about. He said about Dan Ticktum, David, and Jake Hughes in the mock race. David Beckman. I suppose I don't know what happened to them in the race. To be honest with you, I don't know if there was anything interesting. I can't recall having interesting. But what I thought was interesting. If we talk about the attack charge pit stops themselves, there was quite a bit of variance, actually. I think Robin Brines and Dan Ticktum went the longest by quite a long way. Like, I think they did 3 laps to 4 laps more than when the first person pitted, which I think is quite interesting going into the season to see how the undercut or the overcut actually works.
Yeah. I mean, the attack charge thing, there's a lot of mixed messages now, because in all of the pre-test interviews that I did in the sort of last few weeks, all the drivers I've spoken to about it seem so keen for this to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, caveat that as long as it works.
Yeah.
But the fact is that, it seems to me like the drivers are now starting to change their minds, and maybe they're starting to think, do you know what? Maybe it's just not going to work. I'm not sure that they're entirely sure about it, and I think, to be honest, I'd be more surprised if we see it than not. I mean, it's only going to be in the double headers anyway.
Yep.
So it almost feels like
I think we have to trial it. We have to give it a go and see what happens.
I'd like to see it, because I think it would. I mean, Jeff Dodds wants it because he knows
Jeff
that
Dodds wants it, and also he knows how important it is for road relevance as well.
Exactly, and that's what DaCosta also said. It's proof that, if you buy an electric road car, you don't have to be sat there for an hour.
Yep.
But it's a difficult one. I mean, I like watching the attack charges happen, because it almost harks back to seeing an F1 car refuel. It's just, and also I just think it could throw some random stuff up, which, is just an added thing. Formula E does that anyway, but attack charge could just do it even more, and I think it adds another element to attack mode as well, because attack mode is just, drivers don't like it anymore, because it's just something that gets in the way. They lose a position, and if they don't, it's a huge thing if they keep what they've got.
Yep.
So to sort of have it in conjunction with the attack charge, I think would make races way more interesting.
Yeah. Well, according to Pico, there's some of them saying that. Well, Degrassi is saying that it could be like 3 to 4 seconds a lap quicker with the 4-wheel drive system and a lot more overtakes happening with attack charge compared to what we've seen before, which might make it a bit more exciting. So you might take the little bit of pain, but then you should be able to get through the field a little bit quicker, a bit like an overpowered DRS maybe.
Yeah, I that's one way of looking at it. Degrassi is very forthright about the fact that he's been telling Formula E for 7 years that they should be having all-wheel drive. Yeah. And I get his point. I think it's because he also sees it from the point of view that it's just going to make things so much quicker because of the electric motor. It's going to make things a lot quicker over one lap. Not just how quickly they get off the line or in attack mode. It's more the fact that actually it's just going to make the cars a hell of a lot quicker over one lap.
Indeed. Right then. So before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening.
I do have a...
Go on, go. Sorry, go for it.
Before you go, thoughts on Taylor Barnard, because it's always something that I really want to know, but I've not heard a lot from him from the testing. So what's happening with, like, our newest rookie then?
He's been a bit quiet. I mean, my interview with him that went out this week was before the test, and he's just... The thing about Taylor is that you look at him, and he looks like he should still be at school, but he's got so much self-belief. It is unreal, and I think he's such a special talent. If that McLaren is going to be more consistent than it was last season, then I really wouldn't be surprised if he picks up 1 or 2 podiums. I think his talent is very understated, and I think that him and Sam complement each other. I mean, Sam finds the fact that he's old enough to be his dad really funny. Yeah. And McLaren would try to fact check this for me today, and they I don't think they found out yet, but they think that Sam has. Well, they know Sam has driven Harama before, which is unlike a lot of the drivers. He may be the only one, but Sam reckons that when he last drove Harama, Taylor was 3.
Which is
wow, because I know Taylor's around my age. He's a year older, and it's just something to touch up on, like, really, because in the FIA Formula 2 he was not doing really well. So, like, this Formula E, is that a better fit for him?
I think it's a good fit for him. I think, to be honest, with F2, it was a weird one because he never seemed to get a break in most of the races, and the one win he got was, I think, a bit more fortuitous. But he seems to suit Effie really, really well. I mean, I think everyone was quite impressed by the fact he came into Monaco, finished a race because that was all they wanted from him, and then in Berlin he just says, "Do you know what? I'm going to be able to score in the points both races," and he just goes and does it. He seems to be incredibly good at adapting very, very quickly. And the thing is, Formula E is, in a way, in lots of ways actually, it's a very hard motorsport to adapt to because drivers have to get their elbows out, and there has to be almost a sixth sense, particularly in the peloton races, when this sort of stuff's going to happen. And in Berlin, of course, that was a real test of that, because in those races, that's what a lot of it was like. And Taylor coped with it magnificently. So I think that he's going to do just fine. I don't envisage that those races, those 2 weekends were like one-offs. I think he's going to be good all season long.
What have you made of McLaren?
So yeah, I think What
have you made of McLaren and Nissan? Because we said that out of all the teams, they've sort of, the Nissan powertrain hasn't, jumped to the top. They've kind of just been doing their own thing in the middle of the pack. Like, is there anything to read into that, do you reckon?
Not necessarily. Tommaso is quietly confident, and so is Ollie, of repeating what they were able to do in season 10. I think McLaren are very aware that if the Nissan powertrain is on a similar trajectory to what it was last season, they need to make more of it. Because this is something that Sam said to me about, he feels that he and Jake did, and the team as a whole, did not make the most of that Nissan powertrain last season, and that there needs to be a lot of extra work in sharing with the works team exactly how to do that. Because it's quite plausible that McLaren could end up better. We've seen it. We saw it in season 9. The two best teams were the customers, the Jaguar customer and the Porsche customer. So if the Nissan powertrain is good, then I think McLaren can definitely be consistently in the mix, certainly of scoring points. And I think, to be honest, Roland's confidence is so high that I suspect that it's not going to take him a lot to be able to compete at a high level. And he's got Norman with him as well, which should hold them in better stead for the teams and manufacturers championships, I would say.
Yeah, I know, Aisha, as well, you had a question about the Stellantis drivers and Maserati, so I'll let you ask that one. But Jake Hughes and so forth.
Yeah, I was about planning to do that. Do you think it was the right move for Jake Hughes to move to Maserati? Because he was fastest in the morning session, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, yesterday, yep, correct, yep.
So do you think it's the right move? Because I know in London, I might have regretted it. I was just like, I think Taylor Bonner is not ready for Formula E. And I need to take that back because he's actually, I genuinely don't know. I still can't tell whether, I regret saying that or not. But basically, do you think it was the right move for Jake Hughes to Maserati? Do you think he got, what he needed to actually, prove everyone wrong this season?
A lot of it is going to depend on the Maserati car, because it's quite hard to say how good they're going to be. And the thing about them in the last 2 seasons is that Max Gunther pretty much carried them by himself. Because in season 9, Mortara was way off of him. Deruvala was way off of him. So for them to have a brand new lineup is quite interesting. And Cyril has been pretty open about the fact that he knows that Stoffel is a really good driver, but he's kind of got to get it together now this season, because after 2 seasons with DS Penske that were really underwhelming, he's got to prove himself. Whereas I think they're very much aware that Jake's strengths are over 1 lap. And I think, to be honest, Jake, I think, wanted to be, I was going to say, at a standalone team. And of course, it's not, because they're under the Stellantis umbrella, but it feels like it's more of a standalone team, whereas McLaren are essentially a customer. So I think that Jake felt that career progression, it was the best move for him. It certainly feels like a bit of a risk because, if Maserati are roughly in the same ballpark as they've been in the last 2 seasons, or particularly last season, I think Jake is more than capable of being able to pull a win out of the bag, the same way Max did. So I think it could be the right move for him. I don't think it's like a ginormous risk, but I think it's one that it is there, because McLaren, I think, again, are kind of on the right path. So it could end up being a move that really doesn't make an awful lot of difference to where he stands in a championship, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a win under his belt this season. That's one prediction.
Is that one of your bold predictions? Is that one of your bold predictions?
It is. That's the only one I'm giving away.
Jake Hughes.
The only one I'm giving away.
Okay.
But lots of people are going to start jotting them down.
Yeah, they are. I've been told. Yeah, so we've people in the chat are starting from today, because Pico came on and told us, and since then people are like, that sounds brilliant. So if people can get to London, I said, if you can get to London for the last race, we'll do a big film review. Everyone take out their predictions that they.
The one prediction I'm going to make is that Dan Ticktum is not going to grow back his beard.
Okay. That's not your bold prediction, surely.
No, it's not a bold prediction. That's a very easy prediction.
You're giving them all away very quickly, and your segment of the show will be pretty boring in London. Oh yeah, I remember him telling us that one.
That's not a bold prediction. Everyone didn't recognise him, and then the next day he appeared and he looked like Dan again.
Yeah. Fair play. Before we let you go, because it's getting late over there, what are any important stories, anything interesting that you've learned that you're willing to share before you go?
Well, the one thing I think that a lot of people are talking about, and the one thing that's really caught my eye as well, is the fact that Kiro are in the top half of the timesheets in all or most of the sessions. And to be honest, again, this is not a bold prediction per se, but I kind of feel like this is not the result of other teams sandbagging. I don't feel like this is one of these sort of testing scenarios that you get in all motorsports where you don't see a completely true picture. I don't think they're going to be that high up, but I would not be surprised if they do quite well, because a Porsche powertrain, albeit a year old, is still going to be a lot better than what they had before. And to be honest, from the things that I hear, I don't necessarily think that the difference in powertrain is that huge. Okay. So I'm not saying necessarily that Porsche and Andretti are going to be able to benefit from anything that they give back to them in terms of data and whatnot. Yeah. But the thing about Kiro is that it seems to me like they are keeping their powder very, very dry. And that is on all fronts. It's in the sense that the drivers aren't seem to really be talking to the media. They all seem to be playing everything down and going sort of very quietly. Not that they can go about their business quietly, because everyone can see their car from about 2 miles away. But the thing is that I just wouldn't be surprised if they actually start shocking people in that car. The fact that Beckman is up there as well, he's obviously going to get the drive. Yep. He was always the front runner. The likes of Lotter and Marta Garcia were on the list purely for Porsche reasons. Yeah. They were there for reasons, known to Porsche, because Porsche wanted these people. Modlinger says that there's no influence, but there obviously is. But I think that's the big story so far, and the fact that Porsche, I think, have realised themselves that a powertrain that's a year old or 2 years old, really, it's won the Drivers' Championship the last 2 years. Yep. And despite the fact that we have a new, we have a Gen 3 Evo car and not a Gen 3 car we're talking about, I don't think that powertrain is going to make an awful lot of difference, in the sense that actually I think they could score points. I really, really do. All they've got to do is find a sponsor for the car.
Yep. I'm sure I'm not surprised. Well, I suppose if I can get my words out, I think they will, especially if they start performing well, I think. And I'm sure Porsche might, help them as well. I think that could be something that, Porsche might want to say, actually, well, we've got this car that you can also put your sponsor on that's maybe on Porsche's car, for example, so they get double sponsorship or something like that.
They're already helping them out by loaning them their reserve drivers.
Exactly. So. All of them, apparently. All of the reserve drivers. Mr. Jack Smith, thank you so much. Enjoy the final day. If we can get you on tomorrow, amazing. If not, no worries. I don't know what your flight situations are tomorrow.
6 tomorrow evening.
5:45.
So you might get me.
Unlike 5:45 tomorrow evening, is that your flight? 5:45.
Yeah. So I should land at about 7:30 in the UK.
Oh, okay. So all right, that's quick. That is quick.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. Maybe we might get you then. So just pop in the waiting room. Do exactly what you did today. If you pop in, you pop in. If we're still on. But yeah, enjoy your final day. Safe travel. So you're going midway through the female test, the women's test. Then.
Yeah, I'm going to try and see as much of it as possible. I'm going to speak to Jamie Chadwick in the morning, hopefully, and see what she's got to say.
Yep, lovely stuff. Right, perfect, Mr. Smith. We will let you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Get a good night's kip. Ready to go again tomorrow.
Thank you. Keep an eye on motorsportweek.com for some of the interviews that are coming up as well, plus all of the updates on the rest of the test.
Definitely. Thank you very much, and we will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Ciao. So, all that's left for us to do on this show before we end it, it's nearly been 2 hours. This has been the longest one. I don't know how we've managed to do that, Aisha. It's because everyone wants to talk to us, which is amazing. Thank you so much for everyone who's come on as well, and everyone who's listened and watched. oh, Aisha, you're going there a little tiny bit, so perfect time to throw over to Nick de Vries and see what he had to say ahead of testing and what he's thought of testing so far, because Mahindra have been quite strong.
Obviously, you won your championship in the Gen 2 car, you've driven the Gen 3 car, and we now go to the Gen 3 Evo car. What's your first impression of this new car and the changes?
Yeah, I think generally it's been very positive. It's nice to get some, let's say, additional performance, especially on the four-wheel drive. The softer tires, I think they're all, improving the performance of the car effectively. Would have been nice to do the whole qualifying session in four-wheel drive actually, but it's been good so far. Obviously, the team is quite excited about our personal new powertrain, because that was, I would say, a bigger limitation for us in the past 2 seasons. So far it seems like there's still a lot of learning to be done in terms of, I would say, tires and race scenarios especially.
Obviously, last season there were signs of progression, but it was a tough season. When we look into season 11 now, what do you think is achievable, both personally as a driver and as the team?
I don't know. I frankly don't know. It's very hard to know where you are after, let's say, 2 days of testing. So I think we'll need a few rounds to see where we are in the picking order and to set realistic targets. But at this point, I don't think we have enough information to have a good guess. But I'm confident that we will make progress and that we have made progress, and hopefully we can be more consistent in the points. But we'll find out soon.
Much like Zane, you're one of the drivers on the grid that does other championships, and you've just finished one championship as you prepare to start Formula E for season 11. How do you manage to switch off and find time to recuperate and recharge in between what is a very busy schedule for you?
Well, I don't think I need 6 months to wait for the next round. So I'm very happy that I'm lucky to race in different series. I don't even make 20 races a year or 22 races a year, so I'm still doing less than a full Formula 1 season. And I always make a comparison with other sports. I mean, every footballer, every golfer is on the course or on the pitch every day, and us drivers have to do with a few race weekends in a year. So I think I'm very lucky to be driving and learning and being involved in my sport across different series.
Actually, what we're going to do, we're back live, by the way. So actually, what I haven't done, because I made this graphic earlier, I actually showed the lap time. So these were the quickest lap times in the last 5. And Nick de Vries was there with a 1:28.0, with Mitch Evans second, Mortara. So Mahindra had a really, really strong day. And which is really good, because we said about Mahindra that, they had to make progress, right? And I think they are making progress, which is really, 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 really important. But we're going to cap it there, because we're running out of time. We're about 20 minutes over the time that we set ourselves. So, but I hope you've enjoyed the extended, nearly 2-hour edition of this testing. We normally should have been an hour to an hour and a half, but we're at 2 hours. But you wanted to talk briefly about the women's test tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'd like cool, and I'm going to do big. So if you want to speak about the women's test, we're going to dig into it tomorrow a little bit. We're going to do the first bit, but I definitely want to speak about the women's test tomorrow, because there is a feature article that was in the magazine on the back page. So some of you that have seen the magazine may have read what I have written about the women's test, and if it's a PR, just good PR versus actual something that is worth enabling, like young, and is it actually, it might be good PR, but is it worthwhile? Is it something that we should be doing? Yes is the answer to that, but should more be done? Is this doing these tests here and there? And we're going to delve deeper, and I'll delve deeper in that tomorrow. And if you want to go read the article in the magazine, it's on the back page of our October edition. And I Jasmine, who is now part of the Formula E team, who was on yesterday's, who sub-edited it, I was like, please read this, because I don't want to come off as, male energy. I wanted it to be as balanced as possible. And she was like, yeah, I think this is pretty balanced, to be fair. So I hope that you guys agree with it as well. But I just think my opinion on it is, yes, it's great PR. Well done, Formula E. But should more be done? at a grassroots level, and I put that in quotation marks, and I put that in quotation marks in the article as well. What I mean by that is at a 7 at a young age should more be done there rather than doing these superficial tests. Oh, look at us, we're giving us a great chance to do this. But instead, we should be focusing our attention further down the line. That's what the article basically is about. What's your thoughts on that?
No, because I talked about this in the student radio. So I'm part of the sports student radio. And last week I was just saying either if it's really necessary to do that, or is it just because it's giving Formula E the exposure it needed? I was just thinking that it's really good for PR, but it's also good to, to inspire women. But I don't know, I have like a mixed feelings about it, not to like sound really bad as what you've mentioned before, but yeah, it's just really interesting to see. I really want to see how the test is going to be tomorrow. It's something to look out for, and I just don't know. Do you think Formula E will have another female racing driver? Simona.
Simona Di Silvestro did do it. That's the question. I at this precise moment, the answer is no. I don't think there's going to be another. I don't think there'll be another female driver. I think the female driver has to be exceptional, exceptional, and I just don't think there's one out there. Jamie Chadwick and maybe Abby Pulling are the closest to being there, but I don't know. I think it's a small risk. At the moment, I don't know. But that's why, in my opinion, more needs to be done at grassroots, and that's what my article explains.
Well, I was saying that maybe if it's really important, then what's the point of having the the first ever woman Formula E test?
Well, it's not the first ever one because they did it before in Marrakesh.
Oh right, okay.
So
but
it's happened before, but yeah, the way Formula E have done it, it makes it sound like, oh yeah, look how great we are and so forth, and we're doing this. They've done it before, but say you've done it before, but nothing's happened. So you're doing it again. So is it just PR?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So like, if it's really gonna lead somewhere, as in opening up opportunities for women to race in Formula E, then that's a good movement. But if it's not gonna do anything, if it's just to attract attention, then I necessarily don't see the point of it.
Again,
and they got really nice names. Like Chadwick, they got Abby Pulling, they got Bianca Bustamante as well, who is now part of the McLaren team. So it's really interesting to see. And I really hope that it leads to new opportunities, as in, having the next female Formula E racing driver. To just for them to get more opportunities, maybe in F2, maybe in F3. But if it's not going to lead anywhere, I don't really see the point.
That's the whole point. And as I mentioned in the article that I wrote, I said Alice Powell has been part of the Envision team for a very long time.
Yeah.
There was two seats were up for grabs, and Envision looked over her. They put in Paul Aaron and Joe Eriksson. So if they don't think she's good enough to race, then and why have they got Alice Powell there? That's my question. Yes, she might be a nice simulated driver, but is it just to say, oh, we've got a female driver on our ranks? Is that why she's there? I don't want to put Alice Powell into that bracket, but that's what it comes across as. And I think I really want to dig into that debate tomorrow. So if you want to talk about the women's test and what you think, I'm going to put that article will be published on the website tomorrow as well. I'm going to do that after this. I'm going to schedule it to be posted. So it'll be on the website tomorrow, where we ask, is it enough? And give it a read. It's on the back of the magazine right now. So if you want to go and read it, go to the magazine page on the website and give it a read. I think it's a good read. I think
it is a good read. Please.
She didn't have a super license. I don't know who you're referring to on that, Pico, because you haven't put a name, so I have no idea who you're referring to. But the question is, we want them to get their super license in effect, right? But are they going to be effectively good enough to get said super license? So on that note, we've managed to do our first 2-hour show pretty much. We didn't even actually take a break, which is incredible. The breaks were the interviews pretty much of listening to the three drivers. So we didn't actually take a break. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please join tomorrow Alice. Oh yeah, she didn't have a super license. Okay, perfect. But you know, there's a good point well made, right? But if she doesn't have a super license, then she's never going to drive. So she's just a test driver, and that kind of adds to the point. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
why is she there?
Yeah, but it's just a shame. Alice Power is just such a
And such a lovely person.
Driver. She is lovely. She's very intelligent. Very. I think she's got what it takes, you know, to actually be out there. But it's just a shame.
It's just, you know, Susie Wolff was the last person to test in Formula One, and she was at that point the closest anyone's got. Even how good Jamie Chadwick is, and all this work, Susie Wolff didn't have that work, right? All this work that's gone into the W Series and things like that, and still no one's had another test drive since Susie Wolff back in 2014, right? So it's
And you know that
over 10 years, over 10 years.
Since Susie Wolff, and it's been roughly 42 years since the last ever Formula One female racing driver. It's just crazy. Why can't we just have another one, you know?
You know, Formula E championed that in season 1. We had Catherine Legg and Michaela Cerruti in season 1. But, you know, Michaela Cerruti did 4 races, and Catherine Legg weren't miles far behind. I don't think Catherine Legg completed the season either. And it just shows that more needs to be done. More needs to be done, and that's what the article on the back of the magazine makes, is that more needs to be done in order to ensure that more women get an opportunity to race. These women tests, in my opinion, aren't the answer, right?
No,
I can't see a Formula E. You know, it'll be interesting to see the lap times, to be honest with you. I reckon they'll be close. Don't get me wrong. I reckon I reckon most of them will probably do similar lap times. And if they do, amazing. And that might open up a question. But if the lap times are second or second off, so say like the fastest time is a 1:27, but the fastest time out of the females is a 1:28.5, for example. Good lap time, 1:28.5. But then you can see straight away, I don't think people are going to put them in the car.
I agree.
And that's something to look out for.
Yeah, 100%.
They announced today that the winner of the F1 Academy will get a F3 seat with Rodin fully paid. Great. Amazing. However, if that person comes last in all the races, then it's not worked. It hasn't worked. Right? So it's a great opportunity. Nice. But then that drive has to be successful. If that driver is unsuccessful in that car, it devalues the whole series, right? And that's the problem with women in motorsport at the moment, is that we've got all these initiatives, and then you put them up against their male counterparts, and they're in only women championships. You put them up against their male counterparts, and if they do not succeed, then it undermines the whole point of the championship, which therefore goes back to the original point of more needs to be done for young girls at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for them to get properly trained, all of that, in order to actually have a proper impact. And that's what the article focuses on. So go read the article. Right, that's basically what I'm saying. I've promoted it, but I want to talk a lot about it tomorrow, because I think it'll be interesting to see and ask the question. If Jamie Chadwick tomorrow pulls the fastest time of the test session, then get her in a car. Right? But let's see what happens. And I think that's the most important thing for that. Perfect. And on that note, Aisha, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been fabulous today. You might be on tomorrow. It's between you. You're both like double checking that you're both available, you and Jasmine, and hopefully whoever. It's basically first come, first serve at this point. It's basically, so hopefully one of you are available. And
I'm available tomorrow, but I think I'm gonna go on a night out straight after the show. So I'm gonna have plenty of rest tomorrow.
Plenty of rest tomorrow. Perfect. Well, we may see you tomorrow then. Perfect. But thank you so much for watching. You've been watching the FE Bar. I've been Jack Jordan Maynard. It's been the FE Bar. And also, a quick shout out, JB Motorsports will be live tomorrow again, right? You know, he'll be doing a live. So if you want to follow the test live and get some information of what's going on, Joshua Birch, JB Motorsports, best place to go. And follow his channel live. If you're at work, just have it on in the background. Have it on the background. you know, working from home, have him on in the background. Right, he's doing some amazing work over there, so make sure you get there. I'd say both Jasmine and Aisha on, and bin off Jack, yeah. I say yes to that as well. Bundesnot says, great show. Thank you very much, Saz. And yeah, fingers crossed. Honestly, Josh, can't wait to have you on tomorrow. Can't wait. Thank you so much, and good night. And we'll see you tomorrow for the last FE bar of the week. It's been like a proper radio show this week. I feel like I'm so tired. Anyway, love you lots, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.